Every day, learner drivers get stuck on narrow roads because they react too late. The problem isn't steering, it's recognizing the danger before you reach it. In today's lesson, I'll show you the simple steel tunnel concept that helps you identify meeting traffic early, stay in control and avoid one of the most common driving test mistakes.
So the first thing is you need to recognize it. And when you recognize it, if you can recognize it, you are putting yourself in a position to deal with it. If you don't recognize it, you're not putting yourself in a position to deal with it, okay? So what you have to do is make sure a meeting situation is always where cars are traveling in opposite directions on the road and there are either parked cars or there's a narrowing or there's a narrow bridge or there's something like that, which now has to be shared by both streams of traffic. And it's called a single carriageway, and the single carriageway just means that carriages can actually travel in either direction on the carriageway. So that's, I don't know, that to me has always been confusing, but that's how it works. Okay, so it's a single carriageway. So in other words, when people tell you you're on a single carriageway, it means you have a single lane in a single direction. So you have one lane going north and one lane coming south. So I know that that's a single carriageway. In actual fact, it's two lanes. One is going in your direction north and the other one is coming south, and that is called a single carriageway. It's two lanes, but it means that the carriageway itself can only carry traffic in one direction. So the carriageway doesn't have two lanes, it has one lane, and those lanes are going north and south. That is a single carriageway. So the image we've got here is the car, which is numbered number 1, is dealing with a situation where you have parked cars on both sides, and that is creating a steel tunnel. And car number 2 has identified that, and obviously in this situation, this is car number 2. Car number 2 has identified that, and body language, this car has moved over and created enough space here for this car to be able to drive through. Now, what you've got to remember in a meeting situation, you are in a meeting situation. If the space on your left and right is at least half a meter or greater, but two cars can't pass each other simultaneously. Now you might say that this car, that width of this car can fit in here, and then this car can fit in there. Well, there's not enough space between them. There's not enough space between this car and this car, and there's not enough space between this car here and the van. And that now creates a meeting situation. So a meeting situation, you've got to remember, a meeting situation works on the principle that you need a bubble around your car. You need a bubble. The faster you are going, the bigger the bubble is that you need around the car. You have to have a bubble. Now look at that bubble. When that bubble gets into this area here, this car's bubble is going to interfere with that car's bubble, because this car has to get into this situation to have space for its bubble. And once it's this car's bubble, it's not going to fit through. That is a meeting situation. That is very, very clearly a meeting situation. All right, any questions around that? Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so what you do is you recognize, so as you're coming down the road from down here, when you're here, you need to be recognizing that you're getting to a situation where you have a meeting situation. And your first option is pull over, right? And that is you telling the other car that it can come through, and that's the way it works. Okay?
If today's lesson has changed the way you think about narrow roads and meeting traffic, you've only seen part of the full training. Inside LDriv Academy, we go much deeper into recognition, vehicle positioning, meeting traffic control and the decision-making skills that help learners become safer, more confident drivers. Click one of the videos on screen or visit LDriv Academy to continue your training.